You know, we always hear that death is the great equalizer, right? The one experience we all share. But what if that's not true? We're about to dig into a really powerful and honestly, a kinda unsettling idea from a 17th century theologian named Thomas Boston. He was convinced that how you die is a direct reflection of how you lived.
And really, Boston's entire argument hangs on this one question. He saw two and only two paths in life, and he believed those paths led to two totally different ends. So the big question is death the same for all of us, or is it something deeply, deeply personal, something shaped by the life you actually lived?
For Boston, the answer was crystal clear, and he found it right here, in this verse from Proverbs. Think of it like a cloud, right? One side is dark, the other is bright. On the dark side, you've got the wicked being driven away, but on the bright side, the righteous have hope. Seriously, this single verse is the bedrock for his entire argument.
Okay, so to really get the hopeful part, Boston says we have to look at the dark side first. He starts by breaking down what death is like for the people he calls the wicked. And the main word he uses, wow, it's powerful.
Yeah, just look at that language. He doesn't say they just pass away or depart. No, he says they are driven away. And that choice of words, it implies a complete and total lack of control. It's violent, it's forceful, it's being kicked out of everything you've ever known. There's zero peace in that word. It's all about force. And Boston breaks this driving away thing down into three parts. Each one just builds on the last. And honestly, it paints a pretty terrifying picture of what happens when an unprepared person faces the end. Let's walk through them.
First up, it's sudden. Yeah, for the wicked, death just shows up like a thief in the night. One minute they're wrapped up in their worldly plans, their goals, their stuff, and then bam, it's over. He says they're seized, kind of like a debtor being dragged off to prison, just completely blindsided.
Second, it's forcible. This is no gentle letting go. Not at all. Because their whole life, their whole treasure was in this world. They are clinging to it for dear life. Boston paints this picture of them being chased out of the world, literally dragged away against their will, like a criminal on their way to execution. They are fighting it, but it doesn't matter. They have no choice.
And for Boston, this is the kicker. This is what makes their situation absolutely hopeless. There are no do-overs. You can't get that time back. You can't pop back into this life to fix your mistakes. And once we're on the other side, well, the offers of mercy are gone. As he puts it, the door is shut. It's final. A state of permanent, irreversible ruin. But hey, remember that verse from Proverbs? It had two sides. So now let's flip it. Let's look at the bright side of that cloud. After that, pretty bleak picture, Boston gives us this incredible total contrast, the death of the righteous.
And the contrast here is just, well, it's perfect. Every single part of it is flipped on its head. The wicked, they're driven away in their wickedness, and it's totally hopeless. But the righteous, they are gently led away in holiness, and it's full of hope. See the difference? It's night and day. Boston's language here is just as intense, but it's pointed in the complete opposite direction. Instead of a criminal getting dragged to his execution, the righteous person is like a bride, being joyfully led to her own wedding. It's a willing journey, something they've been looking forward to, something to celebrate, not a violent eviction. The whole vibe just shifts from absolute terror to joyful expectation.
So where does this hope actually come from? I mean, is it just wishful thinking? Boston says no way. He lays out three solid reasons that give the righteous person this incredible confidence even when they're facing death itself. Okay, first, they're not heading into some strange, unknown place. Their best friend, the Lord of the land, is already there waiting for them. And get this friend is also their lawyer and their judge. I mean, Boston asks, how can you be scared of the verdict when the person on the judge's bench is your own husband, someone who loves you completely? That relationship, it changes everything.
Second, the journey itself is safe. Sure, the path might look a little dark, but here's the thing. They're not walking it alone. Boston talks about this divine escort, like a guard of angels, making sure they get there safely. They're protected. So what might look like the scary valley of the shadow of death to the rest of us, for them, it's just a secure, guarded road home.
All right, so this all sounds pretty black and white, right? Wicked and righteous. But Boston was a pastor. He knew real life and real death can be messy. He totally sees a big question coming that kind of challenges this neat little division he's made.
And it's such an honest, important question. You've probably thought of it too. We've all known good, faithful people who are still scared at the end. If they're supposed to be so hopeful, what's with all the fear?
And Boston, he doesn't dodge this. Nope, he faces it head-on by making this really key distinction.
He basically argues there are two types of hope. You've got false hope. It might look all loud and confident, but it's built on sand. It's never really been tested. And then you have true hope, which is built on a solid, tested foundation. And for Boston, the big difference is the effect it has on you. True hope actually changes you. It purifies you. So a righteous person might feel their hope get shaken up a bit, but that foundation, it's still there. Meanwhile, the wicked person's hope might seem strong, but it's just an illusion that completely falls apart when the pressure is on.
So, if the goal is to die with this real, unshakable hope, what are you supposed to do? Well, the last part of Boston's work isn't just a bunch of theory, it's a hands-on, practical guide for all of us on how to prepare for a good death. His advice really boils down to these 5 key things, and what's so fascinating to me is that they're all about how you live your life right now. He says, keep a clean conscience, always be aware that your time is limited, loosen your grip on worldly stuff, look for real evidence of faith in your life, and get to work on what you're here to do. See? It's all about living your life with the end in mind. And this quote, it just sums up the whole thing perfectly. Now, he's not trying to be morbid here. When he says die daily, he just means you should get comfortable with the idea of death. Make it familiar. It's kind of like modern mindfulness, or even some ancient Stoic ideas. Don't run from it, don't ignore it, just make it a familiar thought. That way, when the moment finally arrives, it's not some terrifying stranger jumping out at you. It's an expected transition. At the end of the day, what I find so powerful about this old perspective is how it forces us to ask a question that's just as relevant now as it was then. Whether you buy into Boston's specific theology or not, his work makes a really strong case that what you believe about the end will fundamentally change everything you do right now. So let me leave you with this. How does a framework for death, any framework, shape the way you live your life today? That's a pretty big thought to chew on.